Hey everyone, this is Dad's Toys and Things, and in this episode, I'm gonna talk about sump pumps. This is very common in Canada, in houses in Canada, and at the same time, it is often overlooked. Let's talk about sump pump briefly. This thing right here, it removes excess water from the sump pit. You can see that this is in some sort of a pit. There's a cover in it. There's a motor, and then you can see that there's a pipe that goes outside. And by removing those excess water, it prevents a flooding in your basement. Sump pumps, they're normally installed in the lowest part of your basement or crawl space, and then when there's enough water in this pit, it drains the water outside. Now, what happens when you lose power? It really depends. In some houses, I've seen this, their sump pump runs like every 5 minutes, and mine doesn't do that. Not because it's not working, but I don't get a lot of water in this pit. But at the same time, I also want to make sure that if I do lose power, this thing is still going to work. Now, quickly, how this works is you can see that there's this floater right here. And if I simulate it and pull it up, oh, there you go. You hear that? Now that starts up the pump, and then the water goes out. I've created this makeshift table to house this setup. Let me just squeeze in here and I'm gonna show you. Okay, so this is an inverter. It's a sump pump backup system. It's got 2000 watts of pure sine wave, and it's got 20 amps quick charge. Most of this in the past, they're only 5 amps, so they're not quick charge, and it's gonna take long to charge the battery, probably 5 times longer. And now it's connected to this 12 volts 100 amps lithium ion phosphate battery. As you can see, this is also a life PO4, and that simply means it's got a 3000 discharge cycle. So doing a quick calculation in my head, it's probably gonna take more than 10 years before the performance of this thing drops to 80%. Especially with mine, I don't get a lot of water, as I mentioned earlier, so it's not gonna consume that battery. It's not gonna discharge as much. How does this work? Okay, let's go on this side. Now this plug right here is plugged into my sump pump, and this one right here goes to the house socket. Now what happened is that if I lose power, for example, I'm gonna simulate that by removing this very tight. Okay, so it's not connected now. The sump pump is working. The inverter is now working for the sump pump, and it's drawing power from the battery. If we go back to the sump pump below and I start pulling this, it's still working. And if you look here, it's actually drawing 350 watts of power. So that's how much this thing draws, 350 watts of power at the maximum. And the thing is, it doesn't really run every time. So this thing should last a day or two, even if I lose power for a day or two. But of course, that will be different for each application. If your sump pump runs more than mine, and depending on what your sump pump is, it could consume more power, and then so this will not last as long. And then the moment that you plug it back in, now it bypasses the battery, and that's a good thing. Now the sump pump will run directly from the house electricity, and as you can hear, now it's charging the battery. So this thing keeps the battery charged. I've seen people where they actually buy a house for this. I don't need that anymore. I built this table right here, so it's waist level. So if I'm working on it, it's very easy. And this thing is very easy to set up. You can see here, it's a normal plug, the one that you find in your computer, and that's all you need to do to plug it in the socket. Some of them you have to fiddle with a bit of wires that you have to match with the inverter. This one is direct, and on the other side, it's very simple. It's just, I take this off. See that? Very simple connection. And on the battery, same thing. Very simple connection, and it's got two fans to keep the thing cool. Now, longevity, I don't know how long this will last. This is not one of those expensive ones that you see on Amazon. I've seen one that are like 5 times, 6 times, 7 times the cost of what I paid for this. So I'm gonna try this, and now that I know how to set it up, if it does break on me, it's just easy to buy another one, and then the battery will definitely outlast this, I think. And that's it. It's a very simple setup. The thing is, when I contacted one of the a plumber to do this for me, I'm being charged quite a lot to set it up. So I said, you know what, is there a way that I could use my existing sump pump? I don't want to replace it. Most of them would say, hey, you got to replace your sump pump, but this is working perfectly, so why would I replace it? I would test it every week. This one, it looks very old, and it is very old, but it is working properly, and it is working perfectly. So I just want to make sure that it runs when I have no power, and that is done through this simple setup. Very straightforward setup, very simple. It doesn't cost an arm and leg. I'm gonna put it in the description where I got this thing, so you can check the prices. And yeah, you can see this one is also has a carrying handle. And once again, thank you for watching, and please don't forget to click that like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you on my next one. Bye.